be a factor here as he faces LoCicero.
Scheduled for 10 rounds, a pair of banging middleweights.
And while LoCicero has a great right hand, and we saw Jerry Hawley put Lee down, his manager Howard Albert insists it will be the left hook that knocks Caveman Lee to the canvas, if in fact that happens.
They trade left hooks. Another left hook by Lee, but that was blocked by LoCicero. Right hand lead by Lee missed. And Lee looks like he wants to get off quickly. LoCicero banging the body. In Michigan, it's the 10-point must system. 3-knockdown rule is in effect. And on a knockdown, there is a mandatory 8 count.
And LoCicero so far has thrown about 3 shots below the board, a little bit low, and he's trying to bring that guard down. Caveman Lee.
Lee looked very sharp with a couple of jabs, a right to the body. Caveman Lee at 17-2. Began his career with 7 straight knockouts. And of the 7, 6 were in the first round. This fight is only a minute old. Lee with a left hook. LoCicero bangs the body. Lee with a left hook again. And it was LoCicero backed away.
And LoCicero hit him with a good right hand there, but Caveman didn't flinch. And we know that right hand of John LoCicero has power in it. It's produced many of those 13 KOs.
Of the 2 defeats suffered by Lee, one of them was to our eventual champion in the middleweight division in our ESPN tournament, Frank the Animal Fletcher.
And it's no disgrace to lose to Fletcher.
Lee is ranked 9th by the WBA, 17th by Ring Magazine. LoCicero is yearning to get that world ranking. All those punches blocked by Lee.
And LoCicero is lunging a lot early in this fight. And that's a bad habit against Caveman. He has those lightning quick hands that can put your lights out with a counter right hand as you're coming in.
Another good jab by Lee, and he has started smartly here tonight. LoCicero takes a right hand, then ducks. Lee was short with the uppercut and the left.
And LoCicero has not gotten on track yet in this fight. He looks very tight and stiff so far in this first round.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the opening round. This is the first action for John LoCicero since he lost a 10-round decision to Roberto Sabato. And he takes a left hook and takes another left hook.
And I think that right hand in that exchange hurt him a little bit. Caveman is hitting him with some real shots.
Well, earlier this evening, we videotaped comments from both of these middleweights, and here's what they have to say about their encounter.
First of all, I think that Caveman is a good puncher, you know. But I come to Detroit to win this fight, you know. I don't come over here to lose, you know. I come here to win. And that's what I have definitely to do, you know. I just got married maybe around, 4 months ago, and I promised my wife I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna win.
I think LoCicero is a very good fighter, and I hope to take him out within 3 or 4 rounds.
So the Caveman has called 3 or 4 rounds on LoCicero. Upcoming round number 2.
Well,
LoCicero comes, excuse me.
Caveman has had a habit in the past of starting out lethargically in fights, and we've seen that before. Not so tonight. He's been very sharp in that first round.
There you see that big victory in the first round over Marcus Geraldo in Chicago last September for Caveman Lee, a first-round knockout. LoCicero is capable of taking anybody out with 1 shot. And they say LoCicero has the hardest right hand in the middleweight division. That's quite a bit of praise, and that comes from Randy Gordon, the editor of Ring Magazine. Round 2, scheduled for 10. That's Lee in the white, LoCicero in the green. And LoCicero is eating a lot of jabs from Lee.
Lee's jab is working beautifully in this fight, and it will set up the right hands that he followed with earlier in that first round, and that could be a problem for LoCicero. If he keeps eating those jabs, a right hand will follow, and that may be what puts him down. LoCicero is managed by Howie Albert,
who was in the corner of Emil Griffith all those years in their championships. Just a minute gone in the second round. In that first round, both Al and I gave it to Lee, 10-9.
And LoCicero has been very awkward so far in this fight, just trying to land a big right hand. And he's not set that punch up very well so far.
And here in the second, it's LoCicero who is trying to be more aggressive and Lee counterpunching. There you saw Lee working the jab. And LoCicero looked indecisive in that last start of the flurry that never came about.
Yeah, Lee has him very, really, he's going in with great trepidation each time, and I think he's a little concerned about getting nailed with these counter shots, and certainly that left jab, which he's eaten considerably during this fight.
LoCicero on the green is letting Lee steal this round with jabs. Lee missed with that right hand. Less than a minute to go in the second round, and both of these heavy-hitting middleweights respect each other so much. We've had very little fighting on the inside. LoCicero just tagged Lee with a right hand. Now LoCicero's got him at close quarters, but Lee battles back with a right hand and then a right uppercut.
And that right hand landed right on the button, but Lee did not flinch, and he's doing some great counter-punching in the corner.
Caveman Lee is really showing us some class here. He was cornered by LoCicero, and he is pounding his way out. He tagged LoCicero with a left hook, comes up with a right uppercut. LoCicero isn't doing anything at all as this second round is coming to a close.
I think Lee demoralized him a little bit. He took that big right hand, and he didn't even move.
Now LoCicero hammers Lee with a left hook. Lee with a left hand of his own. A right hand by Lee. A left hand by Lee. A right uppercut by Lee. And there's the bell that marks the end of the second round. We'll be right back.
And step halfway. Just turn it on off automatic. Okay, but get him to watching it. You can break up everything.
Let's take a look at the end of the second round in slow motion as Caveman Lee was cornered, but he rumbled well and actually did most of the punching on John LoCicero of New York.
And we see Lee punching his way out of the corner there, and he did some great counter punching in that corner.
Round 3 scheduled for 10. That's LoCicero in the green, Lee in the white. Neither fighter's been down, neither fighter's been cut. And they certainly have kept their distance, except for that last 30 seconds of the previous round. They've been fighting each other from long range.
I think they've got a lot of respect for each other's punching power. And so far, Caveman Lee is dictating the terms on which this fight is being fought. He's staying out. Oh, good right hand by LoCicero. That stunned Caveman.
And LoCicero took a shot as he moved in, a glancing blow. Not a heavy right hand. Not too much damage. That's a slip by LoCicero as he moved back. Don't you get the feeling that this could end in one punch?
Absolutely. There is a certain electricity here, and both these fighters, everybody knows, has the power. And LoCicero has shown us that he is not a boxer. He's a banger. He's got an awkward style, but boy, he's ready to unleash lightning at any minute. Caveman with two good uppercuts off the ropes.
That's been a punch that LoCicero has been eating since the opening bell. An uppercut.
And I'm surprised at LoCicero's inactivity. He's not been a busy fighter.
Look at them measuring each other. Halfway through round 3. LoCicero tried a body shot with the left and missed. Tried a right cross to the head and missed as well.
LoCicero needs to put some punches together. He's thrown really no combinations in this fight, unlike Lee, who's been punching in combinations.
First, LoCicero and his manager, Harry Albert, knowing coming into here to Detroit that they've got to be busy and aggressive because it'll be tough to get the nod in Lee's hometown. Less than a minute to go in round 3.
Big left hook by Caveman, and I think that shook up John LoCicero. And he's holding on right now. Now he's in trouble.
And LoCicero failing to tie up Lee And it cost him because he was hit in the body with a tremendous right hand by Lee in that last exchange. Caveman Lee, trim at 161 pounds, not showing any ill effects so far of having to lose 4 pounds today to make the weight. Less than 30 seconds to go. And that situation could change later in the fight if it gets old.
Absolutely, and again, we don't want to be redundant, but the heat becomes a factor because losing that weight may have some effect. He's still holding his left hand very low. LoCicero cannot land a lead right hand over it.
It's uncomfortable here at ringside for us because of the lack of air conditioning, because this 20 grand showroom is absolutely packed with boxing fans. Can you imagine how the heat is affecting the fighters? Well, round 3 is now history. We'll be right back. Last round, round 3. We're going to take a look at John LoCicero and Caveman Lee on the ropes and look for some uppercuts by Lee. LoCicero failing to tie him up, pays dearly here. There's 1, 2. Well, there were 2, not 3.
And he finished that flurry with a good left hook. So Caveman fighting off the ropes has been really devastating so far in this fight. Let's see if LoCicero can turn things around.
This is the 4th round scheduled for 10. LoCicero coming off a 10-round decision defeat against Humberto Sabater last October in New York. So he has been out of the ring for quite a while, and he does look rusty.
Yes, he does, and he was supposed to fight Lee 2 months ago, but hurt his shoulder, and presumably he's recovered from that injury. But and it doesn't look like that's affecting him too much tonight. It's just, as you said, ring rustiness.
LoCicero simply isn't punching enough. He is waiting on Lee. And Lee, whenever LoCicero punches, is counter-punching well.
And Emanuel Stewart peering out from the corner, we see him, and he is intently interested in this fight because he knows that Caveman Lee at any time could be a fight or so away from a shot at the middleweight title.
4th round is only a minute old. 1980, a so-so year for LoCicero with 3 victories and 2 defeats. That other defeat was a 10th round TKO suffered against Marcus Geraldo, who Lee beat in 1 round in Chicago last September. Lots of cross currents here in the middleweight division. Of his 3 victories in 1980, LoCicero pitched a 10-round decision victory over Teddy Mann. Mann gave Bobby Ches a heck of a time in Atlantic City, even though Bobby won.
And Mann also came in here to Detroit and gave Mickey Goodwin a tough battle. So, and LoCicero's been much more aggressive in this round. He had Lee pinned against the corner, against the ropes rather, and hit him with some good shots. And so far, this round's been a good one for LoCicero.
Halfway through round 4. And the pace is really slowed.
Yes, it has, principally from Lee's standpoint. LoCicero actually picked his big right hand, and that buckled the knees of Caveman Lee's in trouble.
And a right uppercut did more damage, and LoCicero is now cleaning up on Caveman Lee, who needs the belt. Another right hand by LoCicero, and suddenly, LoCicero has come alive, crashing a right cross on the head of Caveman Lee, and then hitting him with a right uppercut. And now LoCicero scores another right hand, and Lee's in trouble. Lee's on Green Street. LoCicero is cleaning up here in the round 4. Less than 30 seconds to go. We told you LoCicero's got a big right hand. He's got a big knot underneath his right eye that has just developed, just as he is absolutely pounding Caveman Lee. We have seen Lee's ability to come back from knockdowns and heavy blows before. We'll fill you in as we go along. Right now, Lee is bleeding from the left nostril because John LoCicero took over here in the 4th round. There's the bell. Wow. We'll be back for round 5 after this. Let's take a look at John LoCicero's right hand. There it is, behind the ear of Caveman Lee. With about a minute to go in that last round, and he came back with a right cross. Lee in trouble. It's a testimony to his stamina that he was able to stay on his feet. Look at the shots he's taking from LoCicero. Here we go, round 5, scheduled for 10. Caveman Lee was in control until LoCicero exploded in that 5th round. Now LoCicero takes a right hand from Lee on the left side of his face.
And Johnny LoCicero looks very tired. He may have punched himself out in that last flurry. And Caveman is on the attack now. What a fight.
LoCicero's got an ugly knot underneath his right eye, and it is swelling. Lee looks like he's clear-eyed. He certainly survived the heavy damage in that last round, and he has been throwing heavy shots here in the opening moments of round 5.
Caveman Lee's conditioning is incredible. We saw it 2 months ago when he got off the canvas against Jerry Holly, and we just saw it now when he survived that barrage from John LoCicero.
Lee now working the body on John LoCicero. A right cross by Lee, another right, a right uppercut by Lee. Lee with a left hook. LoCicero is flat-footed and on the ropes, and he's holding on.
And Caveman Lee again astounds us with this comeback, and Johnny LoCicero looks very fatigued.
Just under 2 minutes to go in this, the 5th round. Plenty of time. Now LoCicero is winging with both hands, and Lee throws a right to the left side of LoCicero. They're looking for punching room. A left hook by Lee. A left hook by LoCicero. Lee comes back with a left and a right. Lee with a right uppercut. Another right hand by Lee, and LoCicero is down. He's on his left side. The count is 6, 7, 8, 9. He just beats the count. LoCicero is up at 9. Plenty of time for Caveman Lee. Lee with a left uppercut. A right to the body. A right uppercut. LoCicero has got him in an arm lock. Lee is looking for room. Lee with a right hand. LoCicero takes a left hook. LoCicero takes another left hook. LoCicero takes a right hand. And Caveman Lee takes a right hand from LoCicero. A right uppercut by LoCicero. And LoCicero comes back with a right hand. Another right hand by LoCicero. And LoCicero now has got Lee in trouble. A right hand. Lee's on the rope. LoCicero is coming back like a madman. It's all John LoCicero here in the 5th round. What a fight.
And either of these fighters could go at any moment. They're both fatigued and they are both hurt. And either man could go down at any moment. And they're both staggering around the ring.
Less
Big
than
right
30
by
seconds to
LoCicero.
go. And they are slamming each other with heavy shots.